back, everybody, and look who's here, Privateer Press. We have Will.
Yep.
And Will.
Yeah.
I might call you Oz.
You're calling me Oz, just so it doesn't get real confusing.
All right.
But yeah.
And they have brought Monsterpocalypse, and I've already decided this is my game, or at least this is my world. You got robots.
That's right.
And monsters.
Yes.
What else could you want?
Giant dinosaurs.
More
They're on the
robots,
way,
more monsters?
but
Is
yeah.
that on the monster side?
No, that's the giant dinosaurs want to save the world, not destroy it.
Yeah, we have two teams.
They live there.
People protecting the planet and people destroying the planet.
Yeah.
And the lizards live on the planet.
Yeah, they need to keep the planet. You know, they might destroy an
You're,
apartment
shaking
complex
up
or once.
this whole...
I know, it's crazy, right?
my
But
gosh.
if you live on planet Earth, you don't want to destroy planet Earth.
Yeah.
And these guys all want to destroy planet Earth.
Yeah.
They're very rude.
Speaking of destroying planet Earth, this game is 10 years old
So
originally?
it originally launched
Okay.
10 years ago in
Okay.
2008.
And it was called Monsterpocalypse.
It was called Monsterpocalypse, yeah.
Yeah, Monsterpocalypse.
There's a P. Nobody can pronounce it correctly.
It's true. We actually did a bit about that.
Yeah.
Where everybody gets the name wrong.
Yeah.
So.
I'm just another everybody.
But the first version of the game was a little different, and
Yeah.
we've brought it back as a full hobby game, paint your own miniatures. We scaled up everything a little bit. The detail level is like 1,000% higher.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no, we basically took it, we revamped it for its second edition, and really in a lot of ways, you know, it is a whole new game experience,
Yeah.
made for a new audience and everything else. And the veterans who were with us 10 years ago are going to see a lot of things that are very similar, but it's just amped up to like 11 now. So.
Yeah. Literally 11 in some cases.
Well, yeah, I have 11 too. Ha!
Uh-huh.
We both have health.
Yeah.
So I want to just jump into
All right.
this game.
Okay.
Let's
Can
do
we
it.
Break this down.
Sure.
Will,
No.
So-
Other Will.
Oz.
Yeah. So I am the lead developer on the game.
Okay.
So a team of us worked together
yeah.
to make the second edition, and then it was handed to me to take it forward.
Sure.
So the game is about monsters, obviously. Both players have to have at least one monster, but you can have 2 or 3 monsters on your side.
Yep.
So you can
if
play
you're
with a
trying
big
to
combo.
Protect Earth, you can still have monsters on your
Yeah,
side.
the big thing is called a monster, just to keep the words the
Lingo
same.
easy.
The big
So, yes.
thing is, so
But
this
you-
is a monster.
Yes.
So
Okay.
you have the way it's split down is there are 2 teams. There's good guys and bad guys. We call the bad guys the destroyers,
Yep.
and the good guys are the protectors.
Uh-huh.
And so on the good guy side, you have your giant human-piloted robot mechas
Yes.
called Guard. You have ninja warriors who can basically
Yeah.
grow to impressive size due to nanotechnology. They're called the Shadow Sun Syndicate.
Yep.
And then you have our giant dinosaurs, which are called the pterosaurs. And so when you build your army, you can take models from any of those 3 factions and
Yeah.
mix and match them.
Wait, can we back up a little bit? Can you explain the logic of this world to me?
So-
like, is this Earth?
This
This
is
is
Earth.
Earth.
Okay.
This is Earth.
And what happened to Earth?
Okay. Earth,
Monsters showed
Earth
up.
had a bad day.
Yeah.
Okay, like
So
next year. in
so
the
effectively,
future?
like 10 years in the future-ish.
Yeah.
It's very close future. A giant comet shows up called the Harbinger Comet.
Okay.
The Harbinger Comet is going to impact Earth. Everyone freaks out. They think it's going to
Yeah.
end the world. Before it hits, it splits into 6 different comets. They crash all over the world.
Oh no.
They steer around the world.
They steer around
and
the world and
crash.
they crash.
And they're
then-
made of these guys.
And then all of a
What?
sudden in Chicago, which is Monster Zero,
Sure.
Gorgodra comes out of
What's his
Chicago.
name?
Gorgodra.
Gorgodra.
Okay.
So the first of the Planet Eaters, Gorgodra, shows up. He comes out of the Lake Superior
Yeah.
by Chicago, and he trashes Chicago, and
Okay.
mankind can't stop him.
Okay.
So all of a sudden, humanity has to band together. They form.
develops
They
this
develop
technology.
the technology
Okay.
for Guard. Guard shows up, and they start to fight back the Planet Eaters who are popping up all over the world.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, because the Planet Eaters are now here, everything gets thrown into disarray, and these ancient evil entities called the Lords of Thule show
What?
up with their tentacles
Wait, there
from a
was a-
different dimension.
What?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the Martians show up from Mars, and they
What?
begin invading, and they all team up, and they're basically, we're going to trash the world for various reasons. And so Guard's like, what are we going to do? Well, there happens to be this private sector called Shadow Sun Syndicate. They're a ancient Japanese-based technology conglomerate, right?
Yes.
And they go, well, we have super grow ninjas,
What?
so we'll help out. And then the dinosaurs show up from Dinosaur World.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
And they're like, wait, we live here, we don't like this, so we're going to help you out. So,
Yeah.
it's kind of like Earth in this very pulpy, crazy, kind of fun,
Yeah.
Did I-
50s nostalgia, everything's gone wrong.
Did I get this right? So you have like the comet creatures.
Yep. The
Space
comet creatures,
monsters, yeah.
Space monsters.
But there's also Mars.
There are Martians.
There are
yes.
giant,
They're
giant,
flying
like flying
saucers
saucers.
and-
Yeah.
And then tentacle other dimensions.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we have our people who are
Yep.
trying to catch up, and our
Ninjas, Shadow
Shadow
Sun
Sun.
Syndicate,
Shadow
Who
Sun
are-
Giant
Syndicate
ninjas.
giant
that
ninjas. Yep.
Can just
They just grow.
just
So
sprinkle
like
water on
they
them
might be
and-
your size, and then all of a sudden they're like power up, and they just go huge.
And in comparison, scale-wise, how does that Shadow Sun Syndicate
So
compare to a
The Shadow
a
Sun,
monster?
the ninja is probably a little shorter
Oh,
than
He's
okay.
a lot.
Defender
He's a
X,
lot less bulky.
but he's
too.
a lot less
Okay.
like he's he's
So
lean,
he could
he's ready to
take one of
fight.
these
Oh yeah.
monsters.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
gonna ninja
yeah.
flipping into buildings. I actually beat Oz
Yeah.
down with
Right.
the ninjas in one of our live streams like 2 weeks ago or whatever.
So they're motives?
Yeah, well, so the planet eaters are these alien creatures who basically they're a parasite. They show
Okay.
up on a planet, they eat it, they move on.
Ah.
Yeah.
The Lords
Okay.
of Thule are very evil entities from an interdimension. They want to turn all mankind into slaves. The Martians need our resources.
Yeah.
Okay, bad guys, bad guys, bad guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you've got Guard, obviously trying to save humanity,
Sure.
protect the planet. The Shadow Sun Syndicate.
They want to protect their customers.
They're
kind of.
Yeah, they're in the in between, right?
they're
they're definitely
mega
saving.
conglomerate,
They're
yeah.
saving the world, but at the same
Yeah.
time, they're probably making a profit.
Sure.
I always compare them to Iron Man 2 when Tony Stark's like, "I privatized world peace," and he
Yeah.
does the finger guns.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
And the dinosaurs. They probably will have a beef with mankind later on, but right now it's like we got to save the world.
Yeah. They don't.
So
they,
let's
they'll
figure it
step
out.
on some
Sure.
people, but
Yeah,
Sure.
they might
Yeah.
gobble up a few bystanders, and that's okay because
Yeah.
ultimately they're
Yeah.
there to save the world.
So they are good, but can be ambivalent.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Yeah.
All right. So now let's get back down.
Okay,
Now that
okay.
I know,
All right, now you know the
who we're
crazy
dealing
world of
with.
Monsterpocalypse. All right.
So the game has.
Who are you playing?
I am playing Gorgadra, who is
Okay.
the starter box monster for Destroyers.
Is that your favorite side to take?
Gorgadra is my favorite monster. Gorgadra was the poster child for the first game. There's a big inflatable version that we
We
brought
do.
to some
Yep.
conventions and stuff, and
Yeah.
it's the first monster a lot of people see. And he's a very unique space monster. He's got like crab claws, and he's
Mm-hmm.
kind of big, like plucked chicken kind of thing.
Sure.
Um,
I see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so
And then-
I have Defender X, who is the starter box
Yes.
monster for the Protectors. So growing up, like the only thing I ever wanted in life was a robot suit that I could pilot, like
Yeah.
like every
Me too.
every
Yeah.
boy and girl of a certain age.
Yeah.
So for me, the guard like totally scratches that itch, just having the mecha suit that you get in and
Sure.
you can just take
Yeah.
on the world is amazing. So I've got guard, I've got sweet jets, I've got awesome tanks, I've got some pretty cool helicopters to take on all of the fat, dopey blob monsters on the other side of
They
it.
just want to eat the planet.
Yeah, I want to eat the planet.
So you'll also notice that I have two colors of stuff.
Sure.
So all of his army was
Or
painted
like
by
white
Dallas,
and
our
red.
studio manager.
Yes.
That's Dallas's personal army.
And beautiful like gradients
Yeah.
and the little base.
Our previous studio director, who still works for us, painted the pink stuff on my side.
So amazing. And we can maybe like pick this up if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
I just want to show off the rippling muscles, gradient detail, and
Yeah.
like freckles.
Yeah, he's got little
All
pink
kinds of
freckles. He's
freckles.
cute.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
he's-
Yeah.
like and kind of a little
He's
bit
not
of
used to the sun yet.
underpainting
Yep.
showing.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful.
But the rest of my army, all these silver and purple guys, they were painted by me.
Okay.
Yeah, they're Oz's
Yeah.
unique color
Also,
schemes.
Yeah.
beautiful.
Kind
color
of gives a
scheme.
feel for the fact that it is a hobby game like we talked about. So you get to
Yeah.
customize your stuff. People who may see the starter boxes will notice that these armies that we're playing with do not represent the color schemes you're going to see on the box, and that's
Sure.
exactly the
Yep.
whole point: is to make everything your own, to live out your own childhood fantasy, and be creative.
Yeah.
So that is part of the really cool part of hobby games in general.
Yeah, that's why we have fun, because of hobbies.
we
So we're
build a
gonna
city?
first let's
Oh, you're gonna
explain
explain
one
the
tiny
dice?
thing.
All right,
Okay.
So
do the
there's
dice.
3 kinds of dice in this game.
So I have noticed they're like D6s, but not.
There are D6s, but not. They have bullet holes in them. They have strikes.
Oh, okay.
So every one of them has a double strike. But the white one has 3 blanks, the blue one has 2 blanks, and the red one has 1 blank.
okay.
So the red ones are awesome. So these are action
Sure.
dice. You use them to do cool things. These are boost dice. You get them for free for being good at something. And these are power dice. You earn these, and they power up your monster and make it
Nice.
throw people
Okay.
and punch people hard and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to mostly be using our white dice to like do our core stuff, but then these other 2 dice will come into effect at some point. And we start the game by rolling 5 white dice to see who gets to go first.
So you're
and
already
stuff.
changing the rules, Oz.
Sure. Every once in a while I say the wrong thing.
I
It's
have
okay.
4.
I got a 2.
All right, so I won.
So you're first player.
So I become the first player. And the
Yes.
first thing we have to do is, you see we have our map. So every game of Monsterpocalypse is played on a gridded map. That dictates
And they're
dictates movement.
different
And they're different.
maps?
Yep,
Yeah.
they're different maps. So in the starter box, there's double-sided. So if you flip this over, you would see a different city layout.
Can you tell me about this map in particular?
Yeah, so this one's called Destruction Junction. This is kind of our starter map.
Destruction Junction.
Yeah, what's your function? Beating
Yep.
up monsters and making them sad.
Yep.
So on a map, you'll notice that they have different elements. So the first off, it's all gridded. So when a model moves, it moves based on the grid. So all of your
Yes.
movement is grid based.
Can you go diagonal or on a
You
straight?
can. There's limited diagonals.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that when we move, but you have limited diagonal movement. And then there are areas called foundations.
Yeah.
So these square areas of 4 are where buildings can be placed during
Okay.
setup. So one of the cool things about the game is that even if you play on the same map, the city is never the same necessarily.
Cool.
Because the players will take turns placing buildings from their
Got it.
collection onto the map to create a cityscape to fight over. You also have these red zones. These are called spawn zones. So this is where your units spawn from. You can't keep a
Oh,
good tank
cool.
or a good fat alien monster down.
Yeah.
So even when they get destroyed,
What
you can
these
always bring them
insults.
back. You
Yeah.
know, they can always come back. This is going to be a running thing. You know, I have to pick on Oz.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
the way it is. It's the
Yeah.
only way I can actually achieve victory. The next zones, which are some of the most important zones, are power zones. So these are the bright pink ones. If a unit ever controls a zone, which means that it's on top of it, you will get the benefit of that zone. So power
Cool.
zones specifically on your monster turn will give you red dice.
Got it.
And obviously red dice are super cool because they let you do all the neat stuff. You then have a neutral spawn zone. So if a unit captures this, you can start spawning from the green zone. And the last one on this map is a negative zone. If you control that, you actually sap power from the opposing monster.
Nice. So it's right in the middle.
So these zones
Yeah.
are very important and something that the units are primarily concerned with grabbing.
Got it.
So because I'm first player, I get the choice to put the first building down, and I think I'm going to put a skyscraper right here.
So you'll notice also the foundations are green or yellow.
Yeah.
You have to fill all the green foundations first, so the middle of the map always has stuff.
Oh.
Because a player can bring 6 to 12 buildings. So if both players only bring 6, you only have 12 buildings total. But there's usually 8 to 10 spaces in the middle that are green. And the starter box comes with these little paper buildings, the apartment buildings. And then in the third month of releases,
Yep.
we're going to put out these resin buildings that you can
Yeah,
also
so all the
collect.
buildings that you see, the bigger resin buildings, these
These
all have
are
special
amazing.
rules.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, look at the little doors and
I
the
know.
windows.
It's got appropriate sized doors and windows. Alright, we have one more green, right?
And are there special
more greens.
meaning or use
So
of the different buildings?
each building has special rules associated with it.
Yep.
So the apartment buildings are pretty general. They're kind of your everyman building. So they're mostly there to add damage to monster power attacks, and then certain monsters can heal from them.
No, they can't.
Oh,
Not
they
anymore.
can't eat. What do they do?
That was
now?
in playtest.
That was.
They just break the rule of you can't have more than 4 of the same
Right.
building.
We're on yellows now, right?
We're on yellows
I'm
now.
not cheating.
Don't put that on my side.
I'm putting that there. You have to deal with it.
Okay.
But places like the skyscraper or the corporate HQ will do things if you control the building, which means that you have models around it to secure it. You can get things like additional boost dice in your attack. You can ignore stealth, which is an ability that some units have to not be shot. So knowing which buildings and when to control them can be pretty useful.
So the strategy already begins from the
Yes.
first.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So how you place your buildings
placing
and
buildings
stuff,
is
like-
very important.
You
For
guys-
example, my goal was to put my radar dish and my industrial complex together, but Oz gave me a classy apartment building instead next to my smog belching.
You
know, there's no
read
real
your
in the world of
mind.
Monsterpocalypse.
There's no
City
zoning.
planning kind of went out the window.
Yeah.
You're gonna notice like nuclear power plants just
Sure.
right in the middle of downtown.
Yeah,
it's
why
it's
would you
okay
do
though.
that?
It's okay. I'm gonna put this guy here.
Well, in a world with dinosaurs, people from
That's right.
Mars.
People are mostly just concerned with building things
Yeah,
fast.
monsters from comets.
All right. Are we full?
There's the yellow in the corners, so you can put it in your corner or my
I'll put it
corner.
in my corner.
That's better for you, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
so we're done building the city now.
All right, phase 1.
Yes.
Complete.
First
Complete.
thing's done. Now, you deploy your monster somewhere.
I'm
And you
gonna
can deploy your
choose-
monster on the back edge of your side of the map, anywhere you want.
We're gonna put
And
him
you
right
only
here.
play one monster at a time?
So, no.
No.
You can,
Okay.
but you can play up to 3 monsters
Okay.
per team. The game is kind of optimal with 2. So
Got it.
1 monster games are great for fast, quick engagements, like we're going to do here, where you're going to see the monsters blow up a lot of stuff and die really quick.
Okay.
2 monster games are kind of what we determine the average game length off of, which
Sure.
is about an hour to an hour and 30 minutes, depending on
Yeah.
the players. And that's where you get the cool combos, like one monster grabs an opponent, throws him into a cluster of buildings, and his friend is there to body suplex him into backwards into the other
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
And then 3 monsters is absolute pandemonium.
Yeah. But your resources never change. You always have the same amount of resources. So if you add more monsters, it stretches the resources thinner, which is why the 2-monster game is optimal.
This is optimal.
All right, so we have deployed.
We have
It
deployed.
is now time to start actually playing the game.
Uh-huh.
Explain.
So the first thing you do when you set up the game is put all of your white action dice in your unit pool. You have 4 boxes across the bottom of the board: the unit pool, the power pool, the monster pool, and the dice well. So your white dice are always going to be in a white box. They bounce back and forth as you spend them.
Color-coded.
Yeah. The power dice and the boost dice live in the dice well. The boost dice always go back there when you roll them. But the power dice you earn, and they go in your power pool, and they stay there till you use them. So you can only activate your monster if it has dice, or your units if it has dice.
Sure.
So first turn is always a unit turn because that's where all of your dice start.
Got it.
But then you control that flow the rest of the game.
Nice.
So the first thing that you do on a unit turn is you can spawn units.
Sure.
So the way that you spawn units is you spend action dice. The cost to spawn units is listed on the stat card, and so every model has a stat card that lists its abilities,
Yeah.
its stats, like how
We
fast
have
it moves.
A couple different kind of
We
units
do,
here.
we do.
Yeah.
So we have our G tanks, we have repair trucks, we have rocket choppers, and we have G1 strike
Oh,
fighters.
nice.
They're actually just called strike fighters, but I call them G1
Yeah.
strike fighters because it's cool.
Yeah.
So
There are
each
also elite versions
Yep.
of some of them that help the other ones of the same
yeah,
type
so they're
fight
commanders
better.
who make
Yeah.
their compatriots fight better. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start spawning some tanks because that's always a good call. So I'm going to spend 1 to spawn a tank, and I place it on an objective or on a spawn zone. So I'll put them right there where the camera probably can't see them. That's okay because I'm going to put another one right here, and then I'm going to use
And you can only spawn from.
one more
From those
to
spawn points, yeah.
spawn a jet right here. And I'm going to spend another one and spawn another jet.
And right now in this
Over
early game, what's
here.
going through your mind?
So
Trying
my
to
goal
set
here-
yourself up?
My goal here is to spawn enough units so that I can move them forward, capture as many power zones as I can,
Yes.
and then also secure a building or two.
Okay.
So one of the best plays is you see these 2 building clusters. To secure a building, you have to have 3 units adjacent to, and adjacent just simply means touching. So any square that's touching them
Cool.
next to them. If you can do that, then you can count the building as secured. You gain its benefit. And then on your monster turn, you're going to get a power dice for each building you secure. So it's really important in the early turn to try to maximize your power dice.
Sure.
Because that's what's going to let your monster go again and again, and your monster's the guy who's really going to do the work for you.
So you're really collecting
Yeah.
that resource right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to spawn a rocket chopper. I'm going to spawn another rocket chopper. I got to think about this here. So, all right.
So do you think you're gonna win?
So I'm going to.
I've beaten him before.
You've beaten me a lot, so
And the
that's
last
why
time-
that's why I hurl insults.
Last time we played, he beat me with a giant ninja, so it
I
wasn't
did.
the same.
It wasn't with. I actually lost with with my sweet guard robot, which
He's
is
never beaten me
unfortunate.
with Defender X yet, so.
Spend 1.
But we've only played one game.
Bump him.
So in a
Officially.
in a starter set,
Here.
like how do I? What comes with?
A starter set is either Protectors or Destroyers.
Okay.
It's these 2 monsters come in
Right.
each one. 5 units, so the little tanks over there and the little Belcher, the little spitting guys over
Right.
here. 6 of these paper buildings.
Got it.
A double-sided map, and it's the same map in both starters.
Okay.
26 dice, which is enough dice for 1 player.
Yes.
And then these debris tiles, which are what buildings turn into when they die, plus
I
cards.
actually really like that.
Yeah.
All right. So
Yeah.
now that I've spawned, I now go to my movement phase. So I can move every single unit that I have on the board for free.
Sure.
Each unit has its own speed value. So, for
Okay.
example, the tanks move 4, the fighters move 7. So there's various different speeds. So, like I said, my goal is kind of to capture as many buildings as I can right now. So I'm going to have this rocket chopper go 1, 2, and it flies, so it can go over the building 3, 4, 5,
Yeah.
and chopper up to there. Getting a lay of the land. I'm going to have this repair truck go to here. I'm going to have this tank move to here. I'm going to have this tank move to here. So now I remember when I said it, I wanted
Yes,
3
you
buildings
wanted to
adjacent.
capture
So now
that.
I've captured both these buildings
Oh,
because I have
nice.
2 and 1, and they're all adjacent to both buildings. So for the moment, I've secured those buildings.
That's why he wanted his radar station over there where I put his building, because he wanted to do a maximized fewest units to hold to both those buildings. But I forced
Strike
him
Fighter advance
to
to
split up.
there.
So even though you had been the one who put down that building, it's not necessarily captured by you.
Yeah, they're
So-
neutral
Correct.
until you control them during the game.
And then I'm going to lean over here and have the strike fighter capture that zone.
Okay.
And that is going to be my turn. So I'm done. I'm out of dice. I could have saved dice to shoot, but I didn't have anybody to shoot, so instead I just used them all for spawning. So now it's going to be Oz's
Yep.
turn to react.
So I get to do the same thing. I get to spawn. I'm going to spawn a bunch of chompers, my guys that are basically giant teeth. So I'm going to spawn these
Teeth and claws.
they're
these
teeth
four
and claws.
these
yeah.
4 chompers.
You can just hear the 1980s coming out of them as they move. That womp, 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 womp,
Yep.
womp, womp. You should have painted them yellow now that I think about it.
Maybe
Bright
I'll paint
yellow.
some alternate ones.
Maybe I'll get some more.
There you go.
Yeah. You.
Yeah, I like this little gold friend we have here.
Yeah, and I unfortunately don't have my own industrial complex to speed my guys up like Schick does. So
You're going to have to destroy it.
I'm going to have to destroy it. But I can't rebuild it like you can.
I know.
So all the different units have different
Got
different synergies and powers and stuff. Generally, a blister pack is some sort of offensive units with a support unit.
Okay.
So you buy a blister pack that is 4 jets, one of one is elite, and a rocket chopper, because the rocket choppers are spotters. And the same thing as my little Belcher guys at Spit. The reason that I have 4 of those painted pink and a gold one is because that's what comes in a blister. The little crawler guy is a support guy. He grabs places and holds on to them. I'm going to change what I did here and put that guy there instead and spawn that guy there.
Already with the cheating.
Just rewinding a tiny bit, it's fine.
Well,
In a
that's
friendly
fine.
game, you
Don't worry
can
about
take
it.
things back.
Is it friendly? I don't think it's
Is it
ever
one of
friendly
those
with
like
you.
you touch it, you move it?
No, no.
No, it's definitely
Not
definitely one of those like
competitive
it's
chess.
fun, it's fun and zany, but
Sure.
you gotta give Oz a hard.
And I'm going to teach everybody a rule that Mr. Schick did not.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I used it. I just didn't explain it.
Sure.
So explain it.
So you'll notice we only have a certain number of doors on the side of the
Right.
map. So the spawn points are all little trap doors in the ground. If you want to spawn more guys than trap doors, you have.
Okay.
When you spawn a guy, you can pay an extra, and you can push the guy that's on that door off of it.
Okay.
So I'm going to put out one of my centipede-looking Destructomite
Ooh,
guys.
yes.
So I have to pay 2 for him effectively because I had to bump that first guy off there.
Got it.
And then I have one more of those guys. Should I make an Explodohawk and try to blow you up? 'Cause
Go
you're
for
over
it.
there.
Show it.
And you can't use the neutral spawn.
Unless you control it during your spawn phase. So the spawn phase is the first thing that happens.
Sure.
So he did take control of that over there, but he took control of it during his movement phase, not his spawn phase. I can't Explodohawk you because I don't have enough dice to bump. And oh wait, no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can't reach you over there. I won't take anything else back.
Genius.
I'll just put that guy there.
All right. Little centipede guy coming
Little
at me.
centipede guy there, and then nobody else will spawn because I can't bump and spawn a guy.
What do they sound like when they move?
I think it's a lot of scritching sounds. I think. So now I'm going to move my guys, and you can only do 1 diagonal when you move. So 1, 2, 3, he can get there pretty easy. This guy over here is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and go up to that neutral spawn point. That guy's going to go there. This guy's going to scoot over. So now I have this power plant.
Sure.
This guy's going to go up to that neutral spawn point, and this centipede guy is really fast, so he's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and he's going to go up there. Now, at the end of your turn, either monster or unit, you can do what's called pushing. You can take any dice from over here and push them over. And now, strategically, you might want to leave some, but you generally leave some in your monster side, not your unit side. So this last die I couldn't use. I'm just going to put over there and be done.
Oh.
All right. So since
This is
he's
going to escalate very fast.
yes.
The map
Uh-huh.
is so small.
The map is pretty
So,
small.
Yeah.
Since he's now done, it goes to my turn. I only have dice in my monster pool, so I have to take a monster turn, which is great for me because that's what you want to do anyway. The monsters are the cool part. So the first thing I do on a monster turn is I power up. And so I'm going to gain a red dice, a red power die, for every building I've secured and every power zone that I control. So right now I have 1 power zone, 2 power zones, and then I have these 2 buildings here.
Got it.
So I'm going to get 4 dice. And then because I'm playing Defender X, he has a special rule called Safeguard. So
Tell me a little bit about this Defender X.
Sure. So Defender X
Who's in
is who's in there? There's a pilot.
Like
Yeah.
me?
Me.
Yeah,
I am
there's
in
one
there
pilot.
controlling him. There's one pilot that is piloting him in some cool robot jocks kind of way, I assume.
All your references are old, aren't they?
I am old.
Uh-huh.
Like, what do you want from me?
Yep.
So yeah, so he is actually the second in line of the Defender series. So he's a different chassis.
Sure.
There's another monster called Sky Sentinel, which is like the first that they built.
Got
He still is in operation and will be one of the monsters that gets released. But he's not quite as sexy. Like Defender X is the poster child of like
Alright.
the new, right?
So this is the
This
monster.
is the guy. If you're gonna see a guard poster somewhere in this world,
Yeah.
like it's got Defender X on it, and he's probably pointing and
Cool.
looking
So,
all
like,
cool, like robo flexing and
like
stuff.
comic books.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
songs
Like your
about
comic books is
him.
gonna be about
Sure.
him. Yeah, there's probably at least one, like country song about Defender X. But he has a rule called Safeguard, which is listed on the card in his special rules. And Safeguard says if I'm securing one or more buildings when I power up, I gain an additional power die. Because of course the goal of Defender X is not to destroy the world.
Whereas
So-
my abilities give me extra power die for
I
destroying
understand.
buildings.
So a little bit more defensive, a
Yep.
little more offensive.
Yeah.
So now that I've
You had
powered
a
up,
plan all along.
I know I was right there. I
You were
knew.
scheming.
I
Yep.
was like, you know what? I know what my name is. It's Defender. So now I'm going to move just like my units. My speed is 6. Defender X has big jump jets. So he has a rule which is called high mobility. That means that he can move over buildings
And other monsters.
and other monsters. So monsters can always move over units because they have
Okay.
big strides, right? No
Sure.
tank is going to stop Gorgadra from stepping over him. He's not that modest. He's okay with it. However, you can't end on another model or a building.
Sure.
Um,
You can't just perch up here.
no, I can't just like land here and be like, all right, come get me, boy. It doesn't work that way. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm just going to hang out right there and be done with my turn because I'm not in range to shoot anything. 1, 2, 3, because I only have range 3 on my lasers. So I'm just going to take a very conservative turn, simply move, and be done. I could push dice into my unit pool, which I've totally flipped. Ha! Way to catch me, Oz.
Cheater.
I know. It's because they were closer over here.
I know.
So all of them are now in my monster pool, and I'm just going to say I'm done.
Okay.
So Oz knows the next turn that I take after he's done, I'm going to take another monster turn.
Sure. And there's not like line of sight.
No,
no line of sight.
Everybody either has super senses or high technology,
Okay.
or they're so big that they can't hide.
Yeah.
Like you're not going
I
to miss
got you in the
Gorgadra even
foot.
behind a
That's
skyscraper,
true.
right? You're just going to see him.
Yeah.
So now I get a monster turn because all my dice are over here. And I'm on that PowerPoint, and that PowerPoint. So I get 3. I'm also securing a power plant, which gives me 1 normally because it's a building. The power plant has a special rule that says when you secure any number of buildings with that rule, you also get an extra power. So I could have 4 of those, but it would only give me 1 extra power. And then I get to take a turn where I probably do something dumb
Yeah,
to show
do
people
it.
how the game works.
Let's see the cool stuff.
So
Yeah, destroy.
Destroy.
let's see how far we
Give us
are
the
away.
movie, Oz.
Let's see how far away we are from
Or your
things.
rubber suit guy
1,
dies.
2, 3, 4. That won't work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So when you move, you can only do 1 diagonal.
Got
So
it.
to get between those buildings, I have to use my diagonal then. So I could get up to here and go 6 spaces. Let's do a power attack SWAT at you, Mr. Schick. That'll be fun.
Yeah, let's do it.
So monsters have a special ability called stepping, and I'm not going to play strategically. I'm going to play fun.
For fun.
Yeah.
Funsies.
So I use all my movement, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6 diagonally.
Okay.
And then monsters can step for an action die, and that allows them to go 1 space in any direction and unlimited diagonals. So if I step 3 times, I can walk all the way up to this jet. And where the game becomes fun in like a big monster wrestling match is the power attacks.
Okay.
So there are things like he said earlier, suplexing and throwing. There's also knocking buildings over. There's also trampling through a bunch of buildings.
Sure.
And there's one called SWAT.
Okay.
And swatting is grabbing a unit and throwing it at something. So I'm going to SWAT that G tank.
Oh, nice.
So when you make an attack, you start your dice pool
Okay.
with 1 action die. You
Right.
always have to roll at least 1 action die in attack. As soon as you start your dice pool, you also get all of the boost dice
Okay,
that are
so-
part of your stat. So I'm doing a
Yes.
power attack, so that's my 3rd stat. And I am far enough away from him and his disruption that I'm not losing any blue dice because he has a field of what I like to
No,
think
what
of,
I have
of rock
are
and roll.
rock and roll amps on my knees
Yeah.
that really distract destroyers.
And
They don't like it.
Gorgadra hates rock
But
and
it's
roll.
just blaring AC/DC and Motley Crue
Yeah,
and
yeah.
all the classics.
so,
Super loud.
So if I'm fighting close to him, I lose a blue die.
Okay.
So this is how it
You
starts.
gotta stay away from that
Yeah.
musical
Yeah.
area of influence.
Yeah.
And when you do a power attack, you have to roll a power die.
Okay.
So that jet has a defense of 1.
Yeah.
Because it's real fast, it streaks in, blows things up, and gets knocked out of the
in
sky.
any
really
movie
easy.
you've ever seen a jet in, it's always super
Yeah.
cool until it gets touched. And then
Yeah.
it just explodes in a
Exactly.
fire.
So
zone.
how a SWAT works is I roll these dice
Okay.
to hit the unit. And then I roll the same dice to hit what I'm throwing the unit at.
Okay.
But his defense on his monster is an 8.
Okay.
So I'm not going to hit an 8 on these because, like I said, these have 3 blanks, these have 2 blanks, these have
Right.
1 blank. So probably I'm going to average like a 3 or 4 with
Sure,
these.
you're not gonna make it.
Yeah. So the white stat on the bar tells you how many maximum action dice you can roll.
okay.
So my
add.
power attack is 7, so I could add all 6 of these.
Okay.
But that would make me not be able to take any more monster
Right.
turns, and he's got all 10 of his dice over there.
Yeah.
So I'm going to add these 4.
Okay.
And so
Ooh, I
that's
like it.
probably 5.
Sure.
That's like 6-ish. That's 7.5, 8.
No, look at the
Whatever.
roll. Good luck.
We're gonna
I
just
like it.
we're
This is
doing. I told you
Monsterpocalypse,
we're
man,
doing
right here. I like
the
this. Do
not
it.
things
Do
that are
it.
super tactical.
Come
No,
on.
I
So I
Roll
need
a plane
to.
into
So
my
I just
face.
need to get a 1 on this first
Sure.
one. So I got more than a 1.
Okay.
Ooh.
Was that 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
Well,
9,
I
10,
love the
8, 11.
idea that-
So I could have hit him with that one, but that doesn't count.
Negative Ghost Rider. The pattern is full.
Yeah. So when you kill any unit or
Sure.
building, you get power dice for it. Units are 1, buildings are 2. So just smashing that makes me more powerful.
Cool.
And then I take the rules called dice in place, the dice I just rolled, and I try to frisbee that jet at
Oh,
him.
it's like a paper plane, man. He's just like,
Yeah.
toy.
Yeah, yeah. So I have to roll an 8 with this roll to hit
Okay.
him, and I rolled an 11 on
You
these
got-
dice
Yeah,
with
you,
the first
you got
one.
this. You're gonna roll a 0
Yeah.
now.
Good
It's gonna
luck.
happen.
Oh,
Oh.
it's not as good.
Oh.
So
1,
2, 4,
5,
6.
Oh.
So these reds that
out.
only have 1 blank,
Blank
roll
out.
blanks on me. So yeah, 4 of my dice failed me miserably. So I spent those power dice. They go back.
Oh, wait, wait.
These dice always go back, and I spent that white die, so it goes in my unit pool. I did keep 1 power die in there, though.
Okay.
All right. So now he's made his attack.
Sure.
Monsters can only ever make 1 attack on their turn. So his turn ends. He could push if he wanted to.
I could
assuming
move dice,
we're
but I'm
gonna
not
move.
going to.
All right.
Yeah.
So then it becomes my turn. I start a monster turn. I power up again for 5 because.
Oh
I
wait,
still
wait,
have-
wait, wait,
oh,
wait, wait, wait,
4,
wait, wait,
sorry.
wait.
Yeah.
I
You
step.
step 1.
I step backwards.
Oh, you step backwards 1. Okay. Sure.
Wow.
All right.
That's a bad space to be to.
It's
Gotta
better than
stay
where
away
you
from the
were.
music.
No,
Yeah.
it's
No,
the
it's
same.
not. It's the same.
It's the same.
All right.
I'm
so
gonna have stepped forward 1. I'm aggressive.
All right. You're aggressive. Step forward 1. Okay.
So yeah, you can step before or after you move and before or after you attack.
Sure,
It's
sure.
it's the flexibility, but it does cost you action dice.
So I'm going to power up for 1, 2 buildings, and then 1 power zone, which is 3, and then I get my safeguard because I'm still oh no, you're next to my building now, aren't you? So because there's an enemy model.
You
next
have
to the
you
building,
have a building.
I have a building, but
So
that
if you
drops me a
have
die.
if you have any buildings, you
so
get.
I get this building, but not this building because there's a bad guy next
Oh,
to it.
I
So it is no
understand.
longer
So
secure.
you're never.
Yeah.
Like when there's a giant monster outside your window, you don't feel very secure. So you're
Yeah.
not going to buy it. You're not going
That
to
makes
cheer him
sense.
on. You're going to be like, get that guy out of
But
my
I can
face.
see how you're playing this strategy where you're like trying to capture as much as possible to use kind of your special kind of
Yes.
characteristics.
So,
Yeah.
so I now have 8 dice in my pool. He killed Ghost Rider, which really made me mad. He had a family, so I'm going to use my rocket boots
Okay.
to fly over to here, and I'm going to land right behind him.
Facing also doesn't matter in the game,
Okay.
but it makes
But
it
it
look
looks
cooler.
cool.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
there's no like,
So
I got you from behind.
I'm going to go ahead.
Oh, you're gonna go for the big throw.
I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hurl him across the
Okay.
map.
How many dice do you have?
Yeah.
I have
7.
8. I have just enough.
So you're using all your dice.
So I'm going to use all my dice.
Sure. If you had 9, though, it'd be better. So with a throw, you can
Oh,
only
you're gonna
throw
go 1, 2,
someone
3,
a number of spaces equal to the
Right.
red dice you add to the
I,
roll.
mean, I don't know if it'd be better. You're still going to hit the building either way.
Well, I would hit this other building too.
That's true, but I don't.
Multiple buildings is always
Because
better.
you took away my building.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But I'm still going to do it because it's going to be
Yep.
fun. So I'm going to basically grab him, like power up the rocket boost, fling him
Yeah.
around by his tail, and then
Sure.
hurl him, right? All classic Toho style here. So I have to spend 1 white die for the attack. I have to spend 1 red die for the attack.
Okay.
My power stat is 4, so I'm going to get 4 boost die, like Oz
Okay.
talked about, to my pool. I now can spend up to 5 white dice because
He's not
I'm
as good at wrestling as I am.
wrestling as Gorgadra is.
Okay.
But I don't need to worry about that because I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Now the reason I'm doing this is because a throw power attack allows you to throw the monster a number of spaces up to the number of red
Right.
dice you rolled.
Exactly.
So I have to get him 8 spaces to get him into that building. So I'm going to use all 8 of my dice, and let's hope that, Okay, so
You roll
I
better
feel
than
pretty
me.
safe here. Yeah, that I roll
Yeah.
better than Oz. So already, just with the super strikes alone, I'm at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
Okay.
11, 12.
Okay. So
So
you
I'm
made
gonna
it.
I'm gonna move
So
him.
a successful attack in this game does
Okay.
1 damage.
All right.
That unit only has 1 hit point, so it just dies as soon as you touch it. So I'm going to take 1 damage. I'm going to go from 11 to 10 just from him
Okay.
power attacking me.
And then he's going to crash into this building.
When I collide with a building, I take another damage.
Okay.
And then the building's going to explode in a giant fireball on him.
And then I collide with that fireball too, and I take another damage.
So I just dealt him 3 points of damage with one attack.
So if he could have thrown me one more, if he had one more
Sure.
power die, I would have taken 2 more damage.
Wow, and then when you're at the end of your health here, is that the end of the
No,
game?
I go to hyper mode and I get real mad.
Oh, it's like
It's
the
just like the
rage.
it's the movie moment where the monster shakes it all off and
Right,
comes back
and then like more
very
horns,
very
like,
angry.
pop out of its back
Yep.
or something. Yeah. Oh my
Okay.
All right, and so then I feel pretty safe where I am because he has to walk around. So I'm going to just end where I am.
Okay. So I'm gonna take another monster turn.
So
Right.
I go here. I gain 2 dice for destroying a building.
Anytime you knock it out of the building, even if you're a good guy, you
Yep.
get power dice.
You still get
for
power
it.
dice because you're doing cool stuff.
Yep. So I'm gonna power up. I still have 3 power points.
Mm-hmm.
I still have this building, and this building still gives me a bonus.
Got it.
Okay. So I have 6. I can 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 step. I can get back to him. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna run back over here.
Wow.
So I spent 2 dice to step, so I have
Okay.
3 dice. And I'm gonna try and throw him into 2 of these buildings.
Oh, rude.
So I'm gonna use all my dice I have. So
Now you learn a thing or
I
two.
know.
every
Wow.
single thing.
It's
So
just- it's just
this
absolute
this is
destruction.
hopefully 6 hits plus some more,
Yeah.
which should equal an 8. But I am close to him now, so his rock and roll. is
My rock and roll is blaring in
freaking
his
me
little
out.
earbuds.
Maybe it's like John Cougar Mellencamp.
Oh, no.
Maybe it's like,
Nobody's going to get amped up for
I was
that.
born in a small town. Maybe
not
it's
gonna
like
happen.
depressing. It
Yeah,
just
maybe,
just
maybe that's
sad.
why it hurts
Just-
the monster.
yeah.
Just makes them all like,
Yeah. Okay, so here we go. Need an 8.
all right, do it. You got it.
So there's 3, there's 6. Yeah, there's a
right.
bunch. So I can throw him up to 6 spaces, but I only want to throw him a couple because I want him to land in both of these buildings. So I did 1 for the hit, 2 more for the buildings, and 2 more for the fire.
Got it.
Now I
You
get
went down a whole bunch.
A whole bunch.
I get 4 power dice for knocking those 2 buildings down, and then Gorgadra has Demolisher. He hates
Okay.
buildings, so every time he knocks the building down, he gets an extra power die for it.
Ah.
So I did roll 6 power dice, but I earned them all back by smashing him into a city, and I hurt him worse than he hurt me. And then the dice I spent go back to my unit pool, so I'm also out. And he's got 1. Oh wait, no, you've only got 1 unit, so you can take another monster turn because you had more dice to play
I had
with.
far more dice
Yeah.
than you. All right,
Yeah.
so
I don't know. The tides may be
that hurt.
turning.
That hurt.
Yeah.
So I'm going to think about what I want to do here. I'm obviously going to take a monster turn because 1 dice on the unit turn would be.
You just
real
want to
sad.
bring back that jet. Come on.
So I'm going to get 1 power zone, 1 for the building, and then 1 more because I am safeguarding it with my ability. I'm going to rocket boost back over to here and be like, "What up, bro?
You
That
guys
was
are,
uncool."
Like, all up in each
Oh,
other's
yeah.
That
faces.
was
Yeah, yeah.
that was
Yeah.
totes uncool, man. And I am going to go ahead and I think I will body slam you.
What?
Okay.
Do you guys? How far in reach do you have to be to attack?
So
each
a
other?
power
Set-
attack has to be
yeah.
lined up entirely
Okay.
for a
So-
throw or a body slam.
You'll notice
Okay.
how the monsters have a double wide base.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in order to do any kind of throw or body slam, you have to be completely base to base. So both of
Okay.
your base scores have to be touching.
Now your blast has a range,
Yep.
so both of us have a range of 3. So if we just
Okay.
want to shoot each other, we can be 3
Sure.
away. The swat that I did to him has a range of 5.
Okay.
And you can be adjacent and punch people. So you can
Okay.
be diagonal or barely base to
Cool.
base. So there's a couple of different ranges and
for,
stuff.
for people who maybe they're a little bit more
All right.
range player.
Yeah.
And there
Well,
are monsters that really
definitely.
excel
Yeah.
at shooting. Like for
Okay.
example, we talked about hyperforms. So I'm 1 point away from going to my hyperform.
Yes.
When I go to my hyperform, my stats all go up.
Sure.
And he
But-
starts really using those rocket
Most
fists.
importantly,
Yeah.
you notice how he's got these crazy rockets on his
Yeah.
fist? Well, that's not just to power his punch. He can
Sure.
actually launch them off his hands and they go flying
the hand
around.
goes-
And
amazing.
when they hit monsters, they'll actually knock them back.
Oh,
So
wow.
when I'm in hyper, for example, I could stand back here, shoot him, and send him into that building anyway, because I can knock him around the map.
Nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, all of the monsters gain like pretty cool and fun abilities. And there are monsters that are really focused on range. In fact, one of the Planet Eater monsters just has
Rogzor.
guns for his hands.
Yeah, he has big
no
spiky
fingers.
gun arms.
So he's all about the shootings.
He has guns for him.
All right, here we go. So
Miss.
I'm gonna roll. I definitely did not miss.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Okay.
I'm not gonna count it.
Come on.
Nope. So I'm gonna pick you up and I'm
Okay.
gonna slam you right into the privateer HQ.
So it squishes
I
this little
just-
guy.
I just
love
ended
that
my
you have
office
that.
building.
Yeah.
So he gets smashes. So I get 1 power dice for destroying the unit. I get 2 power dice for destroying a building. And then Oz is going to take another 3 points of damage, which is
So
likely
I'm
going to
gonna
send
flip
him into
to
his
hyper
hyper form. And then I'm going to put my used dice into my unit pool. And I am not going to push, because I'm going to try to get 1 more monster turn out of this.
Yep.
And just go for broke.
So when Gorgajo gets hurt, he has an ability called Riled. So I gained a power die for him hurting me.
Okay.
When he goes into hyper mode, he has another ability that says everything gains Riled. So now if he kills anything, it gives me power dice.
So
He's just a ball of
He's
anger-filled
angry.
purple.
He
alien
also
jelly.
has a rule called super damage now. So normal damage is 1. If you
Right.
punch somebody, it does 1. If you throw
Right.
somebody, it does 1. Super damage is 2. So now if I throw him, it starts at 2 and then goes up 1 for
nice.
buildings and fires. So I
Wow.
become
So
I can
really
just
escalates.
yeah, I can just slap him for 2 damage, or I can throw him for like 4
Or you
or
can shoot me
whatever.
with your eye lasers for
Or
2
I can
damage.
nose laser you to death. But I cannot do a monster turn now because I am out of monster
Got it.
dice. So Gorgajo just gotta just chill there for a second while I figure out what else to do.
So this could be over for you in like 2 more turns.
It could
right?
be over for either of us in 2 more
Okay.
turns. It just depends on
And
dice.
once the monster is out, you guys.
Then the
done.
game is
That
over.
that
So
is the core way
once
you win the
yeah,
game.
Once you knock out all of the opposing monsters,
Yeah.
so in a 1 monster game, obviously when 1 monster
Yeah.
goes down, it's over. But if you knock out 2 monsters, then that's the so the game ends just when you've beaten the monsters and claimed the city block for yourself.
So let's get some of Ron's pink Belchers out.
Oh
here.
yeah, get the Belchers out.
So I'm gonna spawn a Belcher over there for 1. I'm gonna
Those are
spawn
beautiful.
a little Belcher
are.
over there for
They're
1.
so cute.
I'm gonna spawn a Belcher
are
there
cute.
for 1.
You guys have.
They're like terrifying
you know,
ice cream
plushies,
sundaes.
you know,
Yeah,
plushies.
and then I'm going to spawn the Elite Belcher for 2.
Mm-hmm.
So the Elite Belcher is the commander that gives bonuses to other Belchers around him. And then I'm going to need the 3 dice to shoot with.
So one of the cool things about units is obviously units can shoot other units,
Sure.
but a lot of the times
Can
their
they
attack
try to
stats are
take down
not
a
great.
monster?
So if they want to take down a monster, because you
Sure.
always see the tanks like shooting, the
Right.
big monsters in the movies and trying to do something, all units can all combine their attacks.
Okay.
So effectively, what that means is
gang
that
up
if
on the
they
monster.
Yep.
if they're all within range, then they can all make their attack against it. And what that does is it allows you to roll more action dice. But more importantly, you get to take all of the boost dice that those units get for their attacks
Yeah.
and combine them together.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's
Okay.
really what makes the difference in terms of being able to hit or not hit a monster.
Yeah.
But right now, your strategy is kind of using them to claim these.
Correct.
buildings,
So,
Yeah.
so they have kind of a couple folds, and then in a 2-monster game, you'll wind up with the unit terms happening more often
Because you'll be
spending
burning more
action
dice. Because
Right.
you have 2 monsters to
Right.
run. In a 1-on-1, you don't take very many unit turns, but on 2 monsters you do.
because usually you can get your power base, and then you can just start building it up and going.
Sure.
So I spawned these 3 pink Belcher guys, and I spawned an Explodohawk, my favorite unit in the entire game, because they are just flying bombs. So we're
Creeping
gonna
claws, flying bombs.
yeah. So we're gonna
The Planet
move.
Eaters have a very straightforward
Sure.
ethos. It's how does it kill things?
We're gonna move this Destructomite over here. Destructomites have an ability called Flank,
Okay.
so they lower the defense of any
Oh,
target by
that's
1 within a
so
couple of spaces.
Annoying for you.
I know, because
Yes.
they're clipping at my heels. You
Yeah.
know? It's very
So
uncool.
then this
Look at it.
Explodohawk is
Kill
gonna
these
go
tendons.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He can go up to 6, and he's gonna try to just dive bomb you.
Oh, he's gonna blow
I'm gonna
up
go
on my
for a
backside,
crazy. I'm
huh?
gonna go for a crazy dice
All
roll.
right, let's see it.
So I get 1 die. I have to put in 1 die. I can put in up to 6 whites for an
Sure.
Explodohawk. They can
Okay.
go really high, but I'm not gonna do that. And I get 3 blues, and then he takes a blue away from me. So this
I
is
do.
probably not.
You
No,
can't
I
even
can't
do
get
it.
a 7.
It's not even.
I'm gonna
it's
have
not
to
even
roll 2. I'm
possible.
gonna have to roll 2 white dice
Okay.
All right, so here we go.
because I want this to work.
So you
Yes,
gotta
go
roll.
all in.
So I gotta get a 7.
Yeah, go for it. You got
Oh,
this.
but first I have to move the rest of my guys.
True.
So I'm gonna move this Belcher up here,
Mm-hmm.
and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's gonna lose a die but gain a die. So I'm gonna put him there. Okay, so Explodohawk is a dumb move, but we're gonna try and see if we can
Do
pull
it.
it off.
I want to see it. I want to see the exploding bird. He
That
did
was
not
only
live
a
the
2. That
dream.
missed.
He did not live the dream,
No-
but he
no
does
problem.
live.
So he's
So-
calling Explodohawk because he explodes when he hits people. He missed, so he didn't die.
Yeah. So if he hits whatever whenever he hits something, everything around what he hits dies. If it's a
Yeah.
unit, and
Yeah.
then he dies himself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's literally just an.
So then I have-
bird
Grenade
bomb.
kind of-
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
I have 2 action dice left, and units can combine like he was saying
Yeah,
earlier and shoot
sure.
stuff. So these 2 Belchers back here are gonna spit their acid
Okay.
at him. So I'm gonna put a die in for each of them, and that gets me the blue dice they normally get. So the elite gets 2 dice, and the other one gets 1. But the elite's got commander, so he gives the other guy next to him another blue
Okay,
die.
Cool.
And
what's
I am
the range of alien spit?
on the Belchers. It's 5,
Okay.
so
They
I
spit real
could be
far.
farther
Oh,
away.
wow.
They're big spit cannons.
Sure.
So that flank is only against brawl attacks, so
Okay.
his defense is still 8. So I'm probably not going to roll an 8 on this,
Alright.
but I might,
You might.
Good luck.
which would just put you in hyper,
It
which would
put me in
help you
hyper.
out.
It would help
But
me
hey,
a little bit. A little bit? No.
No,
Your guys
I got
don't
no-
want to
I got no doubles.
You got halfway there.
I was looking for doubles. Okay, so I'm done.
All right. So it goes to my turn. I could choose to take a unit turn or a monster turn. I'm going to take a monster turn
Of course you are.
because I'm still mad about this double building fiasco.
And now their thing is like biting you on the
So-
ankle.
I'm going to
Yep.
get 3 more power.
He's got a
dice.
weird little bug attached to his
Sure.
foot.
I do. I'm just like trying to kick him off while I'm fighting this other guy. Like,
The other
why
ones
can't
are
you
trying
just
to
leave
spit
me
at you.
alone? So I'm going to step on them.
You could.
I
There is a
could.
power
Yeah.
attack we haven't talked
Where
about
you can
called
just like
Stomp.
and then it
Oh.
kills
It
all
kills
the units
every
around
unit touching you.
They're so
I
clustered
know they're
together.
so close, but I think I'm gonna focus on the big guy
Okay.
because he's glowing and kind of
That's
terrifying,
true.
right? Like,
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna move. I'm just going to. I'm just gonna stomp on him. I think. So with that in mind,
You're gonna do what?
I'm gonna throw you.
You're gonna throw me
I'm gonna
like
throw you
one
like
space.
One space. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So I'm gonna use all of my dice because I want this to hit. I get 4 boost dice, and I'm gonna use 1 more white just for funsies. Let's see if we can do this.
Is that an 8?
That's a 4.
That's
That's
an 8
a
barely.
3, and that's an 8.
Yep,
Woohoo!
barely.
Go humanity. All right, so I'm gonna throw him, and I can throw him up to 6.
Okay, but you're just going over 1, 2.
I'm gonna throw him to here.
Yeah.
Okay, but would it pass through the other?
Yep.
No, throws go over things.
Oh.
Yep. So I just
So we're
hurl him
gonna
like over the
we're gonna
thing.
stick another burning,
Another burning
pile of wreckage
pile
right
of
there.
wreckage goes down there. I
Okay.
gain 2
And
dice
I
back for
and I
destroying
took
building.
I took 3 damage, so I'm down to 2 hit points.
All right, so we've got this. We're feeling good.
Good luck,
We're feeling good.
monsters.
So now I'm gonna power up,
Okay.
and I have
You're just gonna go to full power.
I have 2 power points, and that building gives me 2, so I would get 4, but you're maxed
Sure.
out at 10. So I have all my dice, all my dice.
You have everything.
And he's down to 2.
everything.
Yeah.
So he might not be able to hurt me next turn because he might not have enough
Sure.
dice to do it. And I'm in hyper mode,
Okay.
which gives me extra stats, makes me better. So let's just go up there and hurt you.
Hurt me.
I can body slam you, I can throw you, but both of those are just one building. I can't get a super combo multiple building thing on you. So I am going to just walk 1, 2, 3, 4 up to your face.
What does it sound like when you walk towards me on that?
It's very stompy. It's not like that. No,
I think
he's
it is.
he's
No,
real
I think
quiet.
it sounds like a cat
He's
whose
like
tail has been stepped on.
Fuming and just storming towards
it's
you.
Definitely very
he-
high pitched.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, okay.
very high pitched.
Thanks. So now I get 5 blue dice for my power attacks,
Ooh,
but he's
you lose
taking one
one.
away from me.
Right.
still.
Rock and roll.
Rock
Oh,
and
'cause
roll.
of the rock and
Yeah,
roll.
Yeah,
the
because of the
rock
rock
and
and roll.
roll.
So I have to start with this.
That's what we should have called that ability. by the
Flank.
way.
It is only brawl attacks, not
Yeah,
power
yeah.
attacks. So his defense isn't 7 if I try to throw him, and I want to throw him for more damage. I could punch him for 2, or I could throw him for 4. So that's better for me.
I'm surprised you're not body slamming.
Well, I want to throw you to make you have to come back and get me.
Yeah.
Because if I body slam you, you're standing right next to me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You don't have to
yeah, that's
move.
true, that's
But
true.
if I throw you,
Then he has to
true.
move.
All
and,
right.
and especially if I step a little bit after that,
Throw
then
me.
you'll have to come back at me.
Yep.
So I'm going to throw you into this corporate HQ.
All right, corporate
the
HQ.
building we killed earlier, the privateer press HQ, is our tournament prize.
Oh, that's
so
so cool.
it counts as this building, but it's a trophy you can play
Oh.
with.
That's amazing.
So we're going to
Does your
go.
building actually look like that in
No.
Washington?
Well, I mean, it does
Oh,
when
it'd be
we
a-
see
But
it.
in 10
Yeah.
years, right?
Yeah,
when
exactly.
everything
Yeah.
is
When the
taken
monster
over?
apocalypse occurs, we're going to look like that.
So I'm going to get 3 dice back, 3 power dice back for
Sure.
killing this building.
Only if you hit.
Only if I hit. And
Yeah.
I need to get an 8. And I've got these, so 5, 6, 7, something.
All right.
So let's throw that extra one in and at least one of these. I'm
Yeah.
playing a little riskier because I want to
Okay.
get.
You are.
I
wanna
You're
get the
trying
max.
to go back to back to back here.
But if I get a bunch of doubles, I
I
get
know.
like an 11.
Do it. It could happen. It could happen.
Okay,
I
so
think you got it.
those are all singles. There's a double.
Yeah, you got
So
it.
that's 6. That's 8.
All right,
Yeah.
so I'm going into this corporate HQ.
And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you're gonna
so
put
as
me
far
right
as
here
I
on the point.
can to put you back
Right
there. So that smashes
All right,
you
so
right
I
there.
take 4 damage. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I now have two left, and I'm
So
in
all I have to
hyper.
do is poke him one time with
Yep.
any attack, because I do
You're
super damage.
Also on
He's
that.
also
Yes,
a 2.
He
but
has less
he-
dice.
I have less
But
dice.
he has
Okay.
less
Less
dice.
dice. All right, you gonna move anywhere?
I'm gonna move
You
somewhere.
try to run away?
You're just gonna run. I would
Coward.
run.
No, I
Coward.
want to
What
get.
kind of planet eater
I
are
want to
you?
get close to you, but make it
Not
hard
that
for you to get
close.
lined up with me.
Mm.
So, what I think I'm gonna do is step once.
Okay.
So now you can't line up with me.
Okay,
You
okay.
can't throw me or body slam me.
Yep. I like it. Seems legit.
I think that's all I'm gonna do.
All right. That's it?
Wait,
You're
did
done?
I grab 2 dice? I grabbed 2 dice. I said step once, and then I grabbed 2
You
dice.
stepped one
so-
closer.
Yeah.
So the
because
reason being,
there's
remember
no-
how we
there's
said
no
that
sp-
a
he could-
monster has to be fully aligned?
Yeah, so he can't be here or here or here
Yep.
or here because the units are in the way.
Okay, so he's trying to stay away from the
So he can
building.
shoot
Got
me.
it.
He can try to shoot me with his fist and punch me
Sure.
into that building,
Which is what's going to happen.
which is what's going to happen. But he doesn't have a whole lot of dice to do it.
No,
So
I
maybe
don't
he'll
have-
miss.
Well, I get 5 boost dice with my blast attack because
I know.
I am amped up now.
I know.
So we're gonna see. We're gonna go for the gusto. Monster turn.
All right.
I'm gonna gain 3
Did I
dice.
give you that building back
you did
by
give me that
walking
building
away
back
from it?
because you
Okay.
walked away from it.
Yeah.
So I have 1 power zone, 2 buildings, which gives me 3, and then I still have safeguard even in my hyperform. So I get 4.
Okay.
All right. So I only have to get within range 3. So Defender X is gonna go to here.
Yep.
And he is going to go all in, and he's going to fire the Rocket Fist. We're putting all energy into Rocket
Oh,
Fist.
I think he might have. Oh, that's
All
awful.
energy into Rocket Fist.
All
right
he's got to
now.
do is roll real
Right
bad,
now.
though.
No,
Oh, there's a bunch of doubles.
Defender X he's feeling the rock and roll right now, and yeah, that's 4,
So-
8, 11.
That beatback ability lets him push me 2 spaces in one direction.
So I'm gonna
and I
choose-
collide with things.
I'm going to choose this way. So,
So-
I fire the Rocket Fist.
So I took a
it zips
damage
around
from
this
him
way,
punching me.
Clips into him this way, and I'm going to send him right
Yep.
into this
And
building.
then I die because he pushed me into a building.
And so the building
Oh,
explodes,
no.
fire flames, and Gorgadra goes, "Wah," and falls over and dead.
Yep. I deflate like a
But
big
what
weird
about the
balloon.
babies? They all run and hide.
They
now?
run
They all
away.
run and hide.
They run away.
Daddy's
There,
gone.
there
Daddy's
are
gone.
there
They're very
are other
afraid.
giant planeteer
Sure.
monsters they can go.
And
they can
Defender
go
X
hang
does
out
a little
with.
like hip shimmy
Yep.
to his rock and roll because he
Yep.
just won, saved the city.
Yep.
Most of the buildings are still intact. So I'm not going to get yelled at by General Smithers back home.
Oh, General Smithers.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. I'm going to make that call right
I
now.
don't think that's canonical.
No, it's not. It's really not. But in my head, it is.
Sure.
Well, thank you for breaking that down for me.
Yeah.
That was so exciting. I was surprised at how much strategy
Yeah.
is tied with the building.
Positioning really matters
yeah,
too.
And the map.
Yep.
That was very, very interesting. And then also how there's this additional
Hyperform.
Yep. Hyperform.
hyperform phase that really gets things escalating and
Yeah.
exciting.
It's
Yeah.
it's basically half your health is gone, so you need something to
yes,
get you
to like,
Yep.
to get you back up
so
in the
most,
game.
like every monster does way more damage in Hyperform and has a lot more tricks up
Yep.
its sleeves so that it can fight back. And you notice,
Yeah.
even though I outshined Oz in most of the game, by the time he was in Hyperform, we went
well,
right back to neck and
I
neck.
don't
Yeah.
know. He rolled pretty poorly.
Oh, I see.
did
That's
roll
fair.
pretty bad.
That's fair.
I think he
you
had
could have
the
hit me
luck
with
of
the
the
SWAT.
dice.
I would have been at 1.
Yeah.
I know. I know.
Could have been better.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just roll better next time.
I'll
Oz.
roll better next
So
time.
you said
Classic example.
taking down the monster. These are the big miniatures right here.
Yeah.
That's the main way for winning.
Yes.
Is there other ways to play this
So
game?
we are working on other things we're not announcing officially, multiplayer scenarios and weird things, and we've talked about other scenarios. But the core game rule is when all the enemy monsters are dead, you win.
Yep.
Okay.
So don't be surprised if in the future there are other ways to
Cool.
win and other things to do and maybe
And a lot of that will come
crazy
through.
monster races.
We
and
mentioned
stuff.
how
Probably
the
not.
Privateer Press building is our tournament reward. So
Sure.
we have a robust organized play system. It's going to be launching
Oh,
with the game. So if you have a
nice.
game store that wants to do
That's
it,
amazing.
we have our tournaments where you go in and you play competitively to try to win top spot in your bracket. But we also have a league where you just
Oh,
show up, you
cool.
play some fun games. That league gives players a new map called Monster
Oh,
Island.
neat.
It's Isle of Annihilation.
Isle of Annihilation.
Yeah.
And it's got a hazard in the middle that's a 9x9
Giant
volcano.
So if you
What?
throw people in the
That's-
volcano,
so it
they just
starts
do
with a
damage.
volcano in the middle of it.
That's very
And those are the
classic.
places where you'll probably see more things like multiplayer or special scenarios and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because those are our more narrative and casually driven.
Yeah.
So we try to make sure that there's something for everybody in all the games we make. And so
So
that's
what's the best way to support this game? Because you just hinted at many more things to come.
So yeah, so in September, if you're not at Gen Con right now, in September you will be able to buy starters, and that's what we kind of built these armies off of because
Yep.
these 2 monsters are the 2 starting monsters, and then in the second month, Cthulhu, the tentacly monsters, and Shadow Sun, the big giant ninjas, they come out with some units and 1 monster apiece.
Wow.
And then the month after that is the 6 buildings that we played with, except for the Privateer Press Rescue. And then more models come out over the course of the months. And we will be taking breaks every once in a while to like launch new games and that kind of stuff. But in general, this game will get supported pretty frequently.
Oh, nice. Yeah, Privateer Press has a whole bunch of games.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, you know, there's going to be new monsters, and some monsters won't even be from factions that you have seen before.
Yeah.
Because again, it's all about, are you a good guy or are you a bad guy? And that's one of the really fun things to explore. So you get to mix and match however you want. But like I said, the best way to jump in is to just grab a starter set, grab a friend with a starter set, and start playing.
And so this is at Gen Con today.
It's at Gen Con right now.
Right now.
Right
this
now.
year.
You can grab it right now.
What's your booth?
Is $4.39.
Yep.
$4.39.
Yeah, Privateer Press, $4.39.
So if you're watching this, waiting in line somewhere at Gen Con, make sure you come check this out. What has the reception been like?
It's been pretty good. Our demo tables have been
Have
full.
been full like the whole weekend.
Oh, cool,
I mean,
because they want to be that.
yeah. The thing is and this was always fun with Monsterpocalypse in general. The second that you show somebody, you're like, okay, well, grab this guy and throw him into that building, and then the building gets destroyed. Like their eyes light up because again,
No, it's so
everybody
cool.
watched the same things as kids.
Yes.
Everybody loved the same
Still
same
watch
cartoons
those
and
things.
still watches those things.
Yeah.
So to get to play it out on the table in a fun and dynamic way. And the really cool thing is watching, you know, families come, like dads and moms with their kids. And this is a great introduction, you know. It's a very accessible, and the game has a lot of strategic depth, but it also is very straightforward, you know, if you just move the dice back and forth. So, you know, as a dad of 2 young boys who want to destroy the world, this is perfect.
Yep.
You know, it's very it's very exciting from that angle to be like, okay, this is something that we're going to introduce. The models have big, bold details, so they're a great way to introduce people into the hobby of painting, of assembly.
Yeah.
And for me, so this is kind of like the perfect dream come true in terms of like putting something out in the world that hopefully will bring in a whole new group of people who love giant monsters, who really want to get into hobby miniatures games, and want to build cities and tear them down.
Yeah, and when he was talking about his kids, in the starter, there's a co-op scenario. That if you have 2 starters, it's a very slimmed down, like one player plays the monster, smashing the city, the other player plays the units helping them out, and then you just try to smash enough buildings before Defender X shows up to stop you. So that's our way to teach people that aren't familiar with miniatures games or kids, because that's a very super simple
And
one.
this is not intimidating like some of the other miniature games where it's like, whoa.
Definitely the goal, yeah.
I don't have to have a small city. I mean, I do have a small city, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Is there kind of like a fan favorite already? Are people leaning more towards
The
like,
Planet Eaters are definitely winning the war right now.
Yeah.
They're so colorful.
I know the chance to play an evil space alien who wants to devour the world, and probably some Lords of Thule and Martians has swayed. But I believe in people and their desire to pilot giant mecha and save the world.
Well, and
we're gonna sing it swing back.
Big lizards are pretty popular.
I'm holding on to that.
Yeah.
We're gonna see the world get saved. But right now, Oz's team is definitely in the lead a little bit.
Yeah.
And are you guys trying to develop a culture around the miniatures, assembling them, painting them differently?
Yeah, absolutely. The hobby is a huge part of many of the games we do. We have our own live stream channel on Twitch.
Yeah, tell me a little bit more about that. Where can I find you guys?
Privateer Press TV. No, Privateer Press.
I don't remember.
Twitch.privateerpress TV.
Yeah.
That's what it is. TwitchTV.privateerpress. Go to our website. There's a button there that says what the Twitch site is.
Twitch.tv.
We also do live streaming on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
So they're on both. And every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday we do live streams. We do weekly rumbles where we play games like you've seen. We do developer Q&As where basically Oz and the development team go on, they answer questions, they talk about what's coming up for the games. And then Thursday is our big hobby one, so that's where one of our studio painters goes on. He just hangs out with people and he shows tips and techniques on how to paint.
And Dallas was painting these guys on the live stream.
Yeah, and so these guys were painting on the live stream. So he was showing people how he was doing it, how he approached it. We also have a robust YouTube channel, Privateer Press Prime. You can subscribe there, and we also do painting tutorials and quick tip videos. So we're very, tuned in to teaching people how to get their models on the table and paint. And one of the things that we really want to demystify is you see guys who've been doing it for 20 plus years. And you're like, holy cow, I could never do that. It's like, you can in 20 years. Or you can just, get them painted and get them on the table where they look cool.
You just have to start.
You just have to do it, right?
And you will improve as you paint, and you can stop. Like, I stopped improving when I was happy. These other guys, they went way, way above that. But I was like, my guys look good enough. I can paint them quick enough. I'm done. I get done, and I'm on. It's awesome.
Yeah.
What's the number one question you guys have been getting about Monsterpocalypse?
I don't know. What is the number one? I mean,
But
most
when
things-
they can- when
most
people
of the
can buy
questions
it.
when they can buy it.
Yeah.
That's been the
Yeah.
number one. Like, where can I get it? How do I start? And it's really easy because it's the starter set. We have it here at Gen Con. Otherwise, in September. So.
Yeah.
Okay. And where can we find you? You said YouTube channel.
So yeah,
Twitch.
so Privateer Press Prime is our YouTube channel. You can find all of our content there. We are on Twitch under Privateer Press, so just search Privateer Press. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter at Privateer Press, and then of course you can also find us at privateerpress.com.
Okay.
And monsterpocalypse.com is its own
Yes.
Monsterpocalypse website.
beautiful.
You can get there through our website or just go straight to monsterpocalypse.com.
So we're all over the place. We're
Yeah.
pretty much everywhere, and we're always posting new
Yeah.
stuff. And we like to hang out with people and talk and just
Yeah.
rap about what we're doing and have fun. So
Well, it's been fun hanging
yeah,
out
thank you
with
so much
Yeah.
for having us. It's been
Yeah.
amazing.
and Oz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for running me through this crazy,
Absolutely.
fun, colorful adventure.
Super appreciate the opportunity.
Thanks.
And don't go away. We're going to be back in just a few with another interview with Renegade Games.